Hello, my fellow snail sufferers. 15 days ago, I woke up to the Nuclear Thunder trailer. Of course, knowing it was an April Fool's event, I didn't expect much. That was until I played the mode. When I played it, the game mode was ultimately just ARBEC, which is something that I have personally wanted in the game for years. It finally gave every aircraft a role and felt amazing, as well as the fact that they added strategic bombers and nukes to the game. Well, yes, there were some core issues to start with, which we will cover in the video as we go. Overall, the game mode was fun. That was until the end of the event. The last two challenges for the bombers, Gaijin in their infinite wisdom somehow managed to take a mostly amazing game mode and completely ruin it. Who would have thunk? Whether it was for greed or other reasons, we will be discussing it in this video. Before we get into how Gaijin fucked this mode, let's discuss what was good before and after the changes. First, we finally received ARBEC, which in its core is just simulator battles but expanded and in the form of ARB. This is something a large number of the community, including myself, have been asking for since the dawn of time. ARBEC has numerous advantages over the core Call of Duty gameplay we're used to in regular battles, with that being the numerous objectives for planes to do, giving more flexibility for every aircraft, longer match times, which leads to better grinding overall, plus a large map size. This is amazing for aircrafts and is needed for the future of War Thunder aircrafts in my opinion. Second, they gave us more than we even asked for. We saw the addition of strategic bombers into the mix. While I doubt that we will see the smaller nukes remain in the game, such as the ones on the Su-24 and the F-4E, I can see the Strat Bomber spawn point system remaining, giving an incentive for people to hit the 2,500 spawn points to potentially end the game for their team. Third, objectives. Not only did we essentially get Sim but for RB, but they heavily expanded upon the objectives, slapping totally not overpowered SPAAs, such as objectives for us to attack with seed, nukes, and conventional weaponry. Granted, we weren't able to use seed effectively whatsoever, but that's a topic for the upcoming section. Ultimately, all these things combined with the ability to spawn multiple times just by using Silver Lions, the ability to use your aircrafts in the ways that they were built, and the game mode just being fun overall, this created one of the best game modes we have seen in War Thunder for a long time. Even with the core issues it had to start with, me personally, this game mode brought me fully back to War Thunder. While I was here, it felt like I was playing the game for the first time again. It was honestly amazing and really refreshing. But with every good thing, there's something bad, especially with Gaijin, who seem to prove every time they have the easiest bag of their life, they can somehow fuck it up. It's built into their DNA after all, it's almost fully intrinsic for them to do so. Let's kick off the long list of bad that somehow got worse and worse as time went on in this event. There were a multitude of issues to start with from day one. There was a clear discrepancy between Russia and US, which at the end of the day just comes down to the US just having overall better tech, but can also be accounted for by the lack of proper modeling of things like the MiG-29. To start with, Gaijin provided players with aircrafts for the event so everyone could play, but there was no form of BR brackets, so 10.3 aircrafts were able to face the max BR of 13.0. This turned into a major issue where players could come into the event and just farm players who barely understood how to fly at times. But even if you were a player who knew how to fly and what to do, if you were using an F-4E, you were expected to fight a 13.0 aircraft which wasn't provided by Gaijin in the event. It was an aircraft that you could choose to bring in. This led to a certain aircraft proving to be one of the most busted things ever added to the event, that aircraft being the F-14 Araf. But the worst part about all of this was that the Su-27 was on the banned vehicle list, meaning Russia had absolutely zero counter to this oppressive aircraft. So, how did Gaijin rectify this issue? They split the BR brackets up and added the F-14 Araf to the banned vehicle list. By splitting the brackets up, they prevented players with no aircrafts using the given event vehicles or a plane that is 12.0 BR or less from facing 12.3 to 13.0 aircraft entirely. This overall was a positive change. It fixed a lot of issues of farming and vehicle tech discrepancies, but while this fixed one issue, another was born. The match queue timer. Due to a clear advantage to the US tree, every single person was trying to play the US, while very few were trying to play Russia. This led to people sitting in queue for literal hours at a time. Personally, I had 2 times in a row where I ended up in a queue for 40 plus minutes before finally getting a game. However, Gaijin did come up with a fix for this as well, which was simply giving priority to people who were in a queue for a while. This, for me at least, largely fixed the issue. Third, SPAA. Oh man, where do I even start with this topic? SPAA was absolutely cracked, but it's not necessarily all the SPAA, it was the goddamn OSAS on the Russian side specifically. While I heard a lot of people were trying to say that the flak rack was just as OP, I personally beg to differ, as you could easily sparrow roll the flak racks and they really weren't a threat whatsoever, at least to me. But the OSA, I mean, I have witnessed this thing shoot 5 shots while moving within 5 seconds, not even multiple either, a singular one. They are almost impossible to dodge at times, and while I did come up with a tactic to evade it, such as bobbing up and down and using the trees, they were still a massive pain in the ass. I personally believe I died more to OSAs than players or any other thing in this entire game mode. It is actually crazy to me that Gaijin have somehow outdone themselves, and the worst part, they claim they nerfed its load times over and over, and every single time I would hop into a match after the fact, hoping that they did change it and find that they are still just as OP as they were prior to the quote-unquote nerf. Fourth, the last of the balancing changes. What else could Gaijin do to ruin this event? Oh yeah, let's make it harder to do the thing that the event is about. Let's wait conveniently to do this at the end of the event where there's only 2 challenges left for the bombers. Great idea, guys! What were put in these changes that, in my opinion, completely ruined the mode even more than it already was. 1. They lowered the amount of spawn points earned from killing players and upped what you earn from ground attacks such as seed, nuking ground targets, etc. Which by itself doesn't seem too bad. Less nukes being used isn't a big deal, but there are 2 issues here. You refused to fix SPAA. Failing to fix SPAA made it basically impossible to use seed because they would just get shot down almost 100% of the time unless you get within a range of like 5 kilometers, which completely defeats the purpose of these seed missiles. You extended the distance of the main forward base away, meaning it takes longer to get to the point where you're able to fight the enemy fighters. While I see this as a positive change, doing this on top of the SP reductions and the buff of SP required for smaller nukes is absolutely ridiculous. The last part of the event was the most miserable time I have had in the game in the longest time, because even with 13 kills, I still had less than 1,000 spawn points. That legit only allows me to drop one of the bigger nukes with the SU-24 or F4E respectively. A good example that I have is the fact that before the changes, my official nuke counter was at 26. I dropped 11 nukes with the Tu-95 and 13 with the B-52. Only one of which got shot down. When these changes came out, I dropped only 2 nukes. The only reason I was able to drop these is because I was fighting absolute paid actors in the lower BRs using the F4J. I was unable to drop a strap bomber nuke at the higher BRs due to the lack of points for killing air-to-air, and I wasn't able to get points for ground killing. I ultimately ended up spending my spawn points on the smaller nukes to fight the SPA, which just respawns instantly anyways, so it didn't even matter. With all that being said, the game mode was truly amazing when it came out, and while I feel there's absolutely potential here to be the game mode that we have been begging for, there are a lot of core issues that need ironed out before this game mode will ever be close to perfect. Gaijin has stated this mode is likely to come back in the future, so hopefully future editions will make this a little bit more bearable overall. Well, that's it for now, y'all. If you enjoyed, consider hitting that like button, leave a follow, and make sure to comment your opinion down below. I try my best to respond to every comment. With that being said, have a good day, my fellow snail sufferers, and I'll see you all later.